guys, this is Misty. I wanted to show you something that I've been working on. This is a corner to corner baby blanket that I made, and I used the Mandala Baby. I got this from Ocean State Job Lot for $3.99, and I used 2 cakes on this. This was one of them is 590 yards, and I used, I don't know if it was 2 full cakes. I may have had a little left over, but it's been a little while since I made this. This is in the colorway Dream World. So I don't know if this color is still available with Lion Brand. Sometimes once it goes to a discount store, you never know, has it been, maybe the color has changed, maybe that color's been discontinued, or maybe there was just an overstock situation. So I'm not really sure. I haven't checked on that. I need to check on it, but if they still have this color or not. But either way, they do still have the baby, and it works up so pretty in this corner to corner, the way it stripes. So I just did this until, as you can see, it's a pretty good size. And what I sized it out from, look at the variation there in how that yarn is changing colors. And so what I did was I just kept going with my corner to corner one way until I reached 36 inches on the wide side. And then I decided to start going back because I wanted it to be 36 by 36. And that is how this one came out. And this is just such a pretty light blanket. This would be really nice in this weight of yarn. This would be really nice for like a really cool spring day, or a really like starting to get cool fall afternoon or something. Just, you know, it's not too heavy, and where it's that corner to corner, it has all that texture in there that allows it to be nice and breathable. So anyway, I made this, and my daughter has a friend who's going to have a girl baby soon, and I thought this might be really pretty for them. But then I started thinking about one of my nephews. And one of my nephews is getting ready to be a big brother. And I thought about something that might be fun for him, like a nice little comfort blanket for him. Even though he's going to be a big brother, he's still little too. So I was looking at what I thought might do a good job, and I found the Premier Puzzle is what I'm going to be using for this. Now this is a 5-weight bulky, and here's what I'm going to do. This is 328 yards. I'm probably going to end up it's probably going to end up coming out, it might be bigger than 36 by 36. I'm not sure. I'm just going to let one whole ball or one whole skein, I'm just going to run it all the way to the end before I start another one, and basically just see how big I get. He will probably like it whatever size it is, and if it's a little bit bigger, he can just keep it for longer and snuggle up with it. So this is the color Backgammon, and it made me think. I'm looking here on the camera, and I don't know if you guys can see those reds. There you go. See that up close? Is that not just really nice? And I was just thinking that for him, that might really look cute as like maybe a superhero theme. So I thought, yeah, you know, I mean, that just screamed superhero to me. So I thought, you know, this might make a perfect blanket for him. So I hadn't used the Premier Puzzle before I started this project, but it feels really good. It feels nice, and it's nice and thick, and it kind of is a blooming sort of yarn. You know, it seems like as you're pulling it out of there, it just floofs up a little bit, you know. And I wish that red would show up good when it's down here away from the camera, but I think it's going to look really good as a superhero blanket for Big Brother. So let's get started, and I am going to show you guys, if you've never made a corner to corner before, it is so simple. It will turn into your, probably turn into one of your favorite things to do if you've never done it before, because they work up really fast and really simple. So this yarn calls for a 6mm, so I'm just going to use that one. So here is how to start our corner to corner. I'm just going to start like always with a slip knot. Okay, I'll always link that below for you guys if you need any help with that. There'll be a video linked below. So there's your slip knot, and this is going to be so simple. Let me bring you in just a little bit so you can see this happening. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to start with a chain of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we are going to go into the 4th chain down. And oftentimes I usually just count up to the 3rd one. So I'll just go 1, 2, 3. There we are. Or you can count down 1, 2, 3, and 4. This darker yarn is a little bit hard to see. I'm sorry about that. But just count down or count up is what I like to do. 1, 2, 3. I'm going right in there. And, whoops, I forgot to yarn over. We're double crocheting, just like that. And then double crochet. And then double crochet into the next 2. Sometimes that one by the slip knot wants to be a little bit persnickety. All right, so now we're going to chain 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to count down to the 4th one. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, or up to 1, 2, 3. And double crochet right there into that 3rd one from our hook, and then into the next 2 chains that we have there, we're going to double crochet into each of those. Double crochet, and we got one more. Okay, so now we have these 2 pieces. So what we're going to do, this is so simple. All that we're going to do, I think of these like flappers, you know, like a pinball machine, like flappers. So you take this bottom flapper, and see how they're both going in the same direction? You just take this bottom one and you turn it the other way. So now you got 2 flappers going in 2 different directions. And then right here, This is those first 3 chains that we skipped over when we went to do our first double crochet. Right in this chain space here, right between this row of chains and our first double, we are going to slip stitch right into that space. Just pull your yarn on through. And now from here, chain 3, 2 and 3. And now we're going to put 3 double crochets right into this space. So go in there and put your 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. And now that was row 2. So that is literally the whole pattern. Okay, have fun. Good day. No, I'm kidding. We'll keep going. All right, so now we are going to yarn up again like our very first when we started. So with this pattern, one side is always going to be the side where you chain 6, and one side is always going to be the side where you're turning and chaining 3. So you'll see what I mean as we go. So let's go ahead and chain 6. Now that we're back on this increased side, this is going to be our increased side here. So let's just go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to count up 2, or you can count down to the 4th one, and double crochet right into that space. There we go. And then we've got 2 more chains. We are going to double crochet into each of them. And right there into the next one. And right here, we're back to our flapper situation, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to take this bottom piece and we're just going to flip it around just like that. And we are going to slip stitch right in there. And look, we've just changed sides. Isn't that cool? So chain 3. And we're going to do 3 double crochets right here into that space. There is 1, 2, and 3. And now we've got this loose one hanging out here, but we have another space waiting right here that it just falls right into. Okay, see that? Just go right into that space and slip stitch, just like you did with the ones that you flip around. Okay, now we are going to chain 3 again. So see, the more we go up, every time we go up a step, we're going to go ahead and make our chain of 3, and we've got a space to fill. So anytime you're not over to the edge and you have a space to fill, you know you're going to chain 3 and put 3 double crochets in there. So let's just go right on in there with our double crochets. There's 1. There's 2. And there is 3. Now, we're back up here at our increase. Did you see how that happened? Our increase row turned into our flip and chain 3 row, and that's what's going to happen the whole way. It's super fun. It moves along really quickly too. So just go ahead and chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to go down to that 4th one from our hook and double crochet right in there. And we're going to have 2 chains left, and we're going to double crochet into each one of those. And right there's the other one. And we're flipping over, and we have our chain space right there. See where our space is? We're going to slip stitch right into there, right like that. And now we're back to adding rows, or adding, we're adding new steps now. So we're going to chain 3. And we've got a space to fill, see that? So we're going to put our 3 double crochets right in there. 1, 2, and 3. And now we are going to jump over right where this empty space is. See where we've come right up to it, right there. And we're going to go right in there and slip stitch. All right, go ahead and chain 3. See how it's like a staircase? And now we're getting ready to fill in this step. You see that? So let's fill that one in. And we're filling it in with 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and there is 3. And right here we've got an open space. You see that where that, let me lay it out here so you can see it better. You see this chain space? Right there is a chain space. Right there. See that? And every block has that chain space. And we're going to go right into it, slip stitch, but now we've got to get another step, because see, if we ended right there, this set's too wide, so we need another step. So we have to come up 1, 2, and 3, and to fill that space we need those 3 double crochets. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so that is where we are. See our little step ups? And every row, the really cool part is as we go through this yarn is going to change colors. Like right now it's heavy in the blues. It's going to change. It's going to go into like a blue and gray. It's going to go into a red and gray. It's going to go into an all red. This Premier puzzle just changes sort of as it goes. And it's really kind of a random thing that's happening. But it's gonna look so cool. And it's so soft and cushy. I really think it's gonna make such a nice gift. I'm really excited about it. Okay, so let's go ahead and chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and let's go ahead and count down. I do apologize again, this yarn is so dark, I know it can make it hard, but we're just counting. This one in particular, this part of the yarn is kind of a black and blue blend, so that's not helping us any, is it? 1, 2, the third one up or the fourth one down. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we are just going to double crochet right into that 4th chain right there. See that? There is 1 double crochet. And look, we're making, you know that chain space we keep going into? We just made that chain space. See that? I love it. in this pattern in particular, you can really see where all the little things that you do, how you go back and use those things later. It sort of all comes together. And I really like that. I think that's cool. You can sort of see where you've been and by that know where you're going. Now, we were here, and now all of a sudden this is going to become the bottom again, right? So we're going to take this large piece and we're just going to flip it. And we're going to go into that chain space right there. See that chain space? We're going to go right in there and slip stitch. Slip stitch right there. And now chain 3. And right now with that chain 3, we're making another chain space. And we're going to fill this chain space with 3 double crochets. By the time you get done with this, you'll be saying that like in your sleep. Fill that chain space with 3 double crochets. And here's the third one. And now we're going to ease right into this one over here. Right beside of us, we have a chain space. And we are going to go right into it right there. And slip stitch. Now chain 3. And we're going to fill this space here with 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to come right into this chain space right beside of us, right there, and slip stitch. Now chain 3. And now we have another space to fill right there. And we're going to go in there with 3 double crochets. 2 and 3. And then go right here into this chain space up top. And now we're not done because we have to fill another step. See how now this one is long? So we got to put one right here. So go ahead. In other words, we won't stop. We're not to the end of our row until we get to this outer edge, right? And we're not there yet. We're right here still on the inside. So chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then double crochet 3 times to go into that chain space. Okay, now, whoop, Lord, done threw my hook away. All right. So here we are, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We've been on our 5th row now. Yeah, we can tell by how many steps we've got. Okay, so as you can see, that is how this all came together, right? This is smaller and easier to see the spaces because of it, but this is done the exact same way that this was in the pink. So what I want you to do now is I want you to continue going, and I want you to keep doing these little stair steps, right, on this corner to corner, and I want you to go until this, well, I mean, honestly, you can make it as big as you want to. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make mine at least 36 inches. This way or this way. Either way is fine. I'm going to make mine 36 inches. And when I get to 36 inches, honestly, if I've got more in my if I've got more in my yarn, I might make it a little bit bigger. I'll let you know when I come back with it. But when I get to the size that I'm going, now if you're making a baby blanket for a little bitty baby, honestly, you can go a small, I think, probably anywhere from 20 to 36, depending on what you want the blanket to do. Like, are you making a receiving blanket? Or are you making something to swaddle in, like warmth, to cover a car seat? You know, really, it's going to depend on where you expect that blanket to go. Like, if you're making a little lap blanket for a stroller, it might be a little bit smaller, you know. So that's up to you. That's your judgment. But I'm going to make mine at least 36 inches. So when I get to 36 or more, I'm going to stop and come back, and I'm going to tell you then how we reduce it back down and make it into a square. Okay, so you guys break away, keep doing your corner to corner, and I will meet you back here when we're ready to start going the other way with it. All right. Okay. So here you can see our rows are really forming, and this yarn is just working out so pretty on this project. I'm really, really happy with it. It's one of those situations where, you know, when you're crocheting something, when you're working with a particular yarn, and ever so often you just kind of give it a cuddle. That is kind of what this is giving me. There's a lot of it in my lap as I'm working on it, and every little bit I'm just kind of giving it a little squeeze and some love. It's very, very nice. I'm really liking it. So I have got a little bit better than 36 inches here, and I am ready. See how far down I am? I am ready to start making my way back in. Okay, so now that we've got this sort of triangle situation, okay, so here it flares out, and it's just this big triangle. So this is basically as long as it's ever going to be. Every row from here on out is going to be less and less and less until we are back down to what would be like a corner, like what we started with. So I want to show you how to do that. And what we're going to do is, let me move the rest of this off of the table so that you can just concentrate on the stitches that we're doing. So here we are on the very end here of our last row. And what we don't want to do, okay, normally we would be chaining 6 right here and starting another row. But we're not going to do that now. We're going to come out from here and start going down. We're not going to be making any new rows. So right here, this is as tall as this is ever going to get. It's going to start going straight across from here on. So to make that happen, we're going to go in here and go ahead and chain 1 and turn your work. So really what we need to do here is we need to get from here to here as neatly as possible. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to start slip stitching our way across these top stitches. Okay, so we're going to go right into the first one, just like we were going to start a new row of crochet, and slip stitch into there. Now go into that next one and slip stitch. All right, now we're going right into this third one right here, right where that opening is for that third stitch, and we're going to slip stitch right there. Okay, that is bringing us to this chain space. And what I like to do here, and everybody does it a little bit different, but I like to also go into the chain space and go ahead and slip stitch there as well. That just seems to give me a flatter, straighter line across without any dips in it. So let's chain 3 like we do when we're doing any stair step, and we're going to go ahead and put 3 double crochets into this chain space. So there's 1, and there's 2, and 3. Okay, now this is lining us up right here by our next one to go ahead and jump right in there and slip stitch. And now I just want you to take a look at what's happening. So now instead of making another stair, we have these two side by side, and it's going to keep going like that all the way up until we reach the end and there's just one left. So let's just keep going with this. Now we're right back into our regular routine. We're going to go ahead and we're going to chain 3, and we're going to fill this chain space here with double crochets. So here's 1, here's 2, and here's 3. So we're going to go ahead from that chain 3, or from that 3 double crochets, and we're going to go right into this next chain space and connect to that with a slip stitch, and then chain 3, and then 3 double crochets, and we're going to do that all the way to the end of the line here. So you continue doing that and making your way up to the top of this row, and I'll meet you up there to show you how to join now that we're not expanding anymore. Okay, so we are back to our very last square, and I'm sure you can tell now that your rows are starting to get shorter, so it's taking less time to do every row. And we're going to go in here. We chained 3, and we're going to go in here with our 3 double crochets, same as always. And we're going to go ahead and join right there. And we've reached the end. So now chain 1. We don't need to go over this way any at all. We're just going to turn our work. My blanket's getting a little bit big here. All right. There's 1. And then there is 2. And here's our third one right there. And here is our chain space. Now, I always go ahead and put the slip stitch in for that chain space. The only way that that's going to make a difference, there's a lot of people out there doing corner to corner. That's, I'm not really sure who was the first person to ever do a corner to corner. I would love to credit that, but I'm not sure who came up with the corner to corner to start with. Now some will slip stitch into this chain space when they're going across, and some won't. The only thing that's going to cause that to make a difference is if you put a border on your blanket, and you're putting, like, let's say you go around with single crochets, you'll need to remember that each one of these squares that you've gone into, that you didn't put 3 slip stitches in there, you put 4. So if you skip over and only put 3 and don't add 1 for that chain space when you're doing your border, then you might get a little bit of bunching. So the only thing that alters is the number of stitches that you would put in your border. And I personally, just for me, I think that it makes it look a little neater and straighter. If you don't do it, now it probably has to do with my own tension. But if I don't do it, then I feel that it leaves a little bump, a little dent in there. along my border, and I want it to be as straight as it can be. So that's the reason that I leave it like that, or that I do that. So next, we're right back on another decrease row. So we're just going to chain 3 and get going with our squares here, and put 3 double crochets right into that chain 3 space. And then slip stitch right there in that next one to join, and we're starting our brand new row. So this is going to be our new row starting up, and we're going to go up our little staircase just as we have done, and we're going to, when we get up there, we're going to just meet our flat edge and then go back in and start another row. So I am going to leave this with you to continue on with your decreases, and I will meet you back when we're just a couple of rows from the end, and I'll show you how I'm going to close mine off, and we'll start talking about borders and what we're going to do with that. So I'll meet you back then. Okay, we are just about finished with this. We've got like 3 little steps and just a couple rows. I have chained 1 here, and now I'm going to go over and slip stitch into these 3 stitches. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3, and I'm going to add a slip stitch into the chain space. So there is my 4th stitch along that little cube. Now chain 3, and we're just going to fill that chain space there with 3 double crochets. There's 2, there is 3, and we're going to slip stitch right into this next one. We're just following the same pattern that we've been doing. Chain up 3, and again we're going to fill this chain space right here with 3 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, and there is 3. And we're going to just connect right here, and we're back. Look where we are now. So we're back here. We're going to come back in here and do our last row right there. So let's go ahead and chain 1 and turn the work. Okay. It gets harder and harder to get situated when your blanket has been getting bigger and bigger. All right, so let's go ahead and slip stitch right into these. Oh, I almost did a single crochet there. We're slip stitching. Here's the 2nd slip stitch. Here's the 3rd slip stitch, and here is the slip stitch that's going into that chain space. And chain 3. And now we're going to go right in and do our 3 double crochets right into that chain space, just like we've been doing the whole time. And right here is that chain space. We're going right in there and slip stitching. Now, let's just go ahead and fasten off. I always like to just come through, slip stitch, pull down real tight, and come in and clip my yarn. I always like to give myself enough of a tail that I can weave in and make it real secure, and just pull that down tight readjust those stitches there. And that is it, my friends. So, look at that. Let me bring you out just a little bit so that you can see how those stripes are looking. Isn't that pretty? Is that just not the nicest little superhero Big Brother blanket ever? I love it. This I started to say this fabric. This yarn has been so cozy to work with. This Premier Puzzle. Again, this is in backgammon. And I'm telling you, I have enjoyed working with this so much. It has been so soft and cozy to work with. I'm seriously thinking about making my husband a sweater out of this. I don't know what style or stitch I would use. So if it comes to me and I do it, we'll do it together. But this is just it's just been a joy to work with. I found myself every now and then just crocheting along, and this corner to corner is one of those patterns that you can just get kind of lost in because it's just repetitive. The same thing, the same thing, the same thing. You know, you can watch TV, have a conversation. So it's good for that. But I would find myself every now and then just, kind of cuddling up and, scrunching the yarn up and feeling how soft it was. And it was just, when you, it was just nice and soft and warm. So yeah, just as commentary on the yarn, I would definitely use this again. I'm going to check out their other colors. This is the first time I've bought this puzzle yarn, and I would definitely use it again. So just as some commentary on that, and here is our stripes, and there's that corner. And I just love looking at how the stripes ended up. There's that corner. Let's turn it on around. There's our first corner. And then here is our last corner. It just looks so good. I love it. I think that my nephew's going to love it too. So now I have to decide if this is going to get a border. And honestly, I've been thinking about it for the last few rounds, whether I was going to do a border or not. And I don't think I am. Number one, okay, so the little tip that I was giving you to do a slip stitch into that, when we are going through here and when we have to slip stitch over on the decreases, and I gave you that tip to slip stitch into the chain space, I feel like when I do that, it makes the edging really nice and straight. I mean, it has some little rugged, like it has a little bit of a rugged edge, but nothing that throws off from the blanket at all. So, it just came together so neat. So I highly recommend always slip stitching into that chain space when you're on your decrease rounds and you're slip stitching over. I also recommend chaining up before you turn on those same stitches. It just really makes a nice straight edge come together there. So I think I'm going to leave mine alone. I don't think it needs a border. And I really wanted this blanket to be something that the person that I'm giving it to can just cuddle up. And I wanted it to look like a blanket you could just drag around everywhere. That's literally what I intended to be. Something you reach for and cuddle up if you don't feel good, or if it's cold, or if you want to, go from your bedroom to the living room and watch TV and see some cartoons or whatever it is that he wants to do. I would like for him to feel comfortable just dragging this anywhere, and they can just throw it in and wash it. If he gets it dirty, and it just won't matter. It'll just be a well-loved blanket, and that's how I wanted it to be. So as for washing, it is machine wash cold, tumble dry on this Premier yarn. So again, it's just serving, it's ticking all the boxes for me for exactly what I want it to be. So I think I'm just going to weave in my ends now, and I'm just going to let it be. I hope you enjoyed the pattern. I hope you make one of your own. If you do, please tag me and let me see what you guys come up with. Like I said, I don't know who originated a corner to corner, but it is such a fun pattern, and I would love to know how you guys use the corner to corner, and how you work it up, and what yarns you use and different combinations. I love to see other people's creations. So let me know, tag me, and let me see what you're doing. So you guys go out and do something you love today. Okay. Always remember to take care of yourself. Until next time. Bye bye.